Hi everyone. I am going to present you a short presentation here in your course, and I will try to share my screen. Hope that works. Yes. So my name is Dan Fransson. I work at the Center for Health and Performance in the Department of Food, Nutrition and Sport Science. I did my PhD thesis looking into physical and physiological game demands in elite football. I finished that in 2019, and now I'm doing a lot of research in football and in different areas, but mostly in the physical and physiological area. I'm also a sport science coordinator for the Swedish Football Association in a project, elite project, where we try to coordinate football research and it related it into practical implications. Sorry. And my third job 6 years back is head of performance in an elite football club called EF Elfsborg, where I'm responsible for the physical training and testing for the first team, the men's team, the under 19 and the under 17-year-old on the male side. I also have been a part of the women's national team in 2019, where they took a bronze medal in the World Cup, and I'm currently the project manager of a couple of research projects evaluating the tournament and also the Olympics, where we reached the silver medal. But today I'm going to talk about the use of performance technologies in elite football, and I'm going to talk about difficulties and challenges and problems that can occur, and how what the research says, but also how you can think from a practical perspective. So we all know that the physical characteristics of the game of elite and professional football has increased its intensity the last decade. You see this study is beginning to get old, but you see in just 7 seasons in the English Premier League, the number of sprints increased with 80% on average on 5 different positions. The sprint distance with 35%. The passes is much faster, much more occur much more. The passes occur much more frequently, so the intensity of the passing is also increasing. But you see that also that the total distance covered is not increasing. So the total distance is the same, but the intensity of the distance is much higher. So as practitioner, you have to prepare the players' bodies and the players' brains to develop a high performance level regarding to the intensity. And when you train these or you plan the training and the testing of these players, you have the limited of time because in football it's a quite long recovery time in between or after the the football matches. It's up to, depending on what parameters you look at, it's up to 72 hours, up to 96 hours on some of the parameters. But then you want to monitor, you want to know what they are doing on the pitch, both on training and in games, so they get enough of training stimulus, but also not too much that will affect their recovery time. And to be able to do that, that's most of the professional clubs, and in England and in France and in Spain, the big leagues, these type of systems has occurred for 20 years, but now in Sweden, it's maybe the last 5 years, clubs has started to invest in these kind of systems. So I'm going to walk you through this process of an important of these systems and what challenges can occur on different levels in the club. So the first is to invest in a performance analysis system, and what is important there, what can occur. And of course, it's a lot of different technologies. You may know that. You have manual vision tracking system with simple video cameras. You have global navigation satellite systems like GPS. You have automated vision-based tracking systems that occur mostly on the stadium or the match arena. You have local positioning system. It's similar like the GPS system, but it can be used indoors with artificial satellites, so to speak. And then you have inertial measurement units like accelerometers or sensors in different ways. So all of these are used in professional sports today to measure and get an understanding of what the individual players, but also the whole team is exposed for regarding to physical activity during training and games. Yeah, this is just an example of how a semi-automated multi-camera system that are used in the 3 top leagues in England, and most of the big tournaments like World Cup or European Cup games are these technologies is used. The GPS has also been very highlighted the last couple of years, especially here in the Nordic countries. You see it in these from newspapers. Everybody is using this, and you can see also in the bottom right that the number of publications including these type of measurement with GPS has increased the last decade, and now that paper is Malone 2017, and they investigated only until 2015. So now it's 2022 soon, and it has increased even more. But then you ask yourself, okay, this type of systems, it's good that we can have numbers of the players, but it's also challenging. And how good do they measure? What is the decision makers in the clubs holding the money and doing the investment? How much do they know about these systems? Do they measure all right regarding to the parameters we want to know in our club, in our coaching team? That is, I would say, from practical experience, it's really hard for them, like club directors, sports directors, managers, to know about these things, because they are expensive. They can be really expensive. and for a elite club in Sweden that maybe don't have that that much money to bring into this, they have to consider: is this system, do we get the effect that we want? Do we get an increased performance or decreased number of injuries or whatever? Because otherwise the system doesn't matter. And then we come to that later, but then it's more important that they can invest in a system that it's valid and reliable, but also that the coaching staff or the specialists, they can use it. They understand the technology, but they also can relate it to the sports performance and the physical demands of the sport. That is very important. So what system to choose? You have these different technologies, but you also have, do you want objective measurements like polar heart rate monitors, GPS that really measures what's going on and you can interfere with it, multi-camera system, you have blood lactate, oxygen uptake systems. You have many systems here to choose from, or these subjective measurements that rate of perceived exertion. How does the players feel after a training? How hard was the session? The conversation with the players, or these questionnaires that's similar or commonly used in professional sports before and after the trainings. How did you sleep? How did you eat? How motivated are you today? Etc. And also the external. Do you want to measure the external activity of the players, or the internal? What's going on into the body? That is also, what do you want to know? And how will you relate that to the training and games to be able to plan and make individual and team decision how the training is going to be today or this week or this month, to be able to adapt the players to get free from injuries, but also to increase the performance. Here you have if you look at the statistic systems or the video analysis system with the tactics, the technical aspects, you have a huge number of systems, and you have these up to the right that you get a lot of data, but this is automated. You don't have to do anything. You just get a report in the club from this, and then you can relate it to the game and the training and get an understanding of what's going on the last match. But you also have this manual system that are more qualitative, where you can create video clips and so forth to be able to understand it, the games and the trainings a little bit more deeply. And also here, what do you want? What do we want? Do we want to do it and control the data ourselves and clip based on our definitions in the club, how we define things and what's important parameters for us? Or do we want the automated data collected by the companies, but then you have to be careful how they define things. A successful pass, for example, it can be completely different definitions between these systems, but also between this and what we mean. Is a complete pass when one player passes another player and he or she receives it and I control it? or is it just a pass, but the opponents get it, or the other player, your teammate, just own the ball in maybe 1 second, and then he loses it. What definition is a successful pass? For example, and then you have maybe 300 parameters you have to go through, or maybe you just want to choose 5 that we think are important in the club. This is very important before the stakeholders in the club invest in systems. But usually it can occur that, okay, these other clubs in Allsvenskan or these Champions League clubs, they have this system. Okay, we get that system. And the sports director takes that decision on his own. And then you have a system maybe for 3 years costing, I don't know, 10, 20,000 crowns a month. But can we use it? Is it effective for us? And can we make a difference in performance? That is really important. And then we come to the production of the performance data. What variables or parameters do we need to use? Of course, the manufacturer has automated or have created these parameters that they think is useful. But is it according to the science, evidence-based, that these parameters matter in the matter of performance or decreasing risk of injury or whatever? That is really important. So if we look at the physical part of the game, and you look at GPS data, you look at this, my former supervisor, Magni Moore, conducted this study, and he could see that some of these variables, total distance and HAD activity, which is a marker for fat burning in the muscle, they have a significant relation. And also this total distance covered and testing performance also related quite strongly. So these type of parameters are related to the physical capacity of the players, but also what's going on in the muscle. So that can be important for you as a fitness coach, for example. You know that if we do a certain amount of total distance in this case, or high intensity distance, or whatever we see here in this paper, we know that if we run a certain amount of that in the training, we get the adaptation in the muscle, and probably also an increase in the physical capacity. But you also see a number of parameters that and muscle proteins and so forth that doesn't have this strong relationship. Then you maybe want to choose the parameters or the variables that has something to do with physical capacity and the adaptation in the muscle. But you know that all these GPS systems, they have a lot of parameters that they calculate, and yeah, they are seems nice, but what do they relate to regarding to the muscle or the tactical aspects or the physical capacity or whatever? And what do we want to measure? And what is important for us? That's the question. And of course, is it related to long-term performance or increasing performance, football performance? That is important. Here we also see that one of the analysis we did in the Women's World Cup, we could see that in 7 games, the high intensity distance, which we um, defined as distance above 12 kilometers per hour. And we took the 30 second of the game where they ran most high intensity distance, and we correlated it with a yo-yo test, an aerobic test here, and we saw that the correlation was quite strong based on the quite few players and only in 7 games. So if we test this, we can it's indicating that if they get better in this test, they can perform better on the peak 30 seconds in their games. That could also be an important variable. And the tactical aspects, I'm sorry that this is in Swedish for you English speaking, but I will try to explain it in English. But we have a number of all these, the providers of tactical data. They have reports this thick after a game, and you get all the information. But for me, it's important what is related to performance or winning the games, or conducting the most, the higher number of goal chances or whatever. That is important, and maybe we should start by doing that before we go into any details that we don't know if it's related to success or performance. And this is really important for the specialists in the club, in the coaching staff, that will provide the coaching staff with reports that says, okay, this is how we looked in the game. But then you have to know that is it related to success or isn't it? And if you these 3 parameters that I will show you now has been shown in a large study in Germany, that these aspects of the game, you see a clear difference with the winning team or the top team in the league winning game after game after game with the bottom team or the losing team. And the first is space control. So you control important space, both offense and defense, better than the opponents. That seems to be a really important. Of course, that it says itself where if you control your space outside your own penalty area or on your own half of the pitch, if you control important spaces, then the opponents will not get so many goal chances. And of course, the other way around, even in the offense aspect, if we succeed in controlling the spaces outside the penalty area, or maybe even inside their penalty area, then we are more likely to create goal chances and score goals and win the games. Pressing index. This is interesting, I think, because it has with the physical aspects of the game. So when you lose the ball, when your team lose the ball, and the mean speed of the team, 3 seconds, within 3 seconds, when you lose the ball, is higher than the bottom team in the league. So the winning team, or the top 4 teams, they have a much higher or significantly higher mean speed when they're losing the ball. So they want to take the ball back as soon as possible, or they want to get on the right side of the ball to create the defense. That is seems really important. And then you have the passing index. So you have the more successful teams. They are better in passing or dribbling or take the ball by their lines or their different team parts, so to speak. And that seems really important. Of course, that if you can beat one line of 4 players, then you have space control in the offense part of the pitch. So these maybe would be a starting point of tactical position-based parameters to look into for every team, because it's clear that the successful team has a better is better in these parameters than the bottom league teams or the losing teams. Yeah, it's also important that I was talking about definitions before. It's also important that we have the same definitions, and this is a problem that I run into in Sweden very often. I have fitness coaches, sports scientists, head coaches calling me and say, okay, we have this video camera system on our stadium. It shows this. And then we have a GPS system on the trainings, and it shows this. What is right and what is wrong, and why is it different? So it's really important to know the technology and the limitations and the settings of the technologies. So here we have TrackUp is a video system, and then Catapult and GPS XE is a GPS system. There are 2 different GPS systems, and then you can see that the meters, the total distance for each player here can differ with 200 meters or even more. And the same here. It's even higher difference here with TrackUp and this GPS system. And it's not always about which system is the most valid one. It's what we use and the most reliable one. Because if it's reliable and you don't have the exact data, maybe that is not so important. If you have the same system that you use all the time, and both in training and games, then you can relate the game to the trainings, but then it has to be reliable. That is the most important thing. And the difference here in this figure, of course, it can depend on validity and reliability, but it's also 2 different types of system. They measure completely different. We have the manufacturers, they have algorithms in the hardware, in the software, where you transfer the data from the hardware to the software. That can differ markedly. And also different definitions of every category or every parameter. So total distance, can it be different from one system to another? And also, this is a big step. I mean, if you look to the figures to the right, minimum effort duration, the dwell time, how long you have acceleration efforts, for example, and then you have the on the X scale minimum effort duration. So if you define an acceleration, and the acceleration has to be above 0.2 seconds, then you have this measurement. But then you increase the minimum effort duration, and the number of acceleration will reduce or decrease. So if you have one system that's set on 0.3 and one system 0.6, you see it can differ 70 acceleration efforts. And this is happening all the time. A coach for a known team here in Sweden called me and said, okay, we saw this this article from Barcelona. They have 375 acceleration in one training, in the most intense training during the week. We have 50. Are we that bad? And that is really important to understand. No, it's not like that. Probably is the different settings in the software or hardware. So this is really important for the practitioners to understand. And also, if we compare, one season to another season, if we change the system or we update the system, or maybe it's only that we update the software, maybe this minimum effort duration would change. That has happened. So we have to be aware of these small details of these technologies. So the interpretation of the performance data, of course, it's dependent on the specialist's knowledge about the system, but also the knowledge about the tactical, physical, or technical demands of the game and the experience there, and related to the clubs or the team's identity or style of play, or etc. etc. It's really important. So here we have GPS data. And I, as a sports scientist in the club, these numbers occur. Yeah, we have a total distance covered of 19,939 meters. We have a high speed distance 398 of one. This is the average of the whole team. Or maybe it's one player. What do I do with this data? I tell the coach, okay, we have almost 400, this player had almost 400 meters in high speed. Okay, what do I do with that? What decisions do we do there? Nothing, we can do nothing. We have to relate these numbers to something. And what we do, and many other elite clubs do, we have these created in the club. This is our microcycle, 1 week of training, how we plan the training, and what aims we have for every player. So here we have match day, and that match day +1, +2, +3, -3, -2, -1, and then we have a game again. And then, of course, we can go into details of how we train and so on. But if we talk about technologies, we monitor every game and every training with GPS system. And we have maybe 5 different parameters that we know are related to the muscular adaptation and the fatigue levels, but it also important for the performance, for the football performance. So we have acceleration, decelerations parameters, 2 or 3. We have sprints, and we have high speed running. So the game for us is 100%. Here is what we related to. So different positions. I don't know if I have that. No, I don't have it here. But different positions have totally different demands in these variables. So a right fullback has much higher sprint distance than a center defender, for example. It can differ maybe 500-600 meters in a game. So we set we relate to the game demands, and this is not only one game, because it can fluctuate from game to game. So we have the 5 most demanding games, the highest values of the 5 games of a year. We have a mean value of that for every player. So here is 100% of all these parameters, and then the match day +1. We know that they are not recovered. They are really fatigued after the game. the one playing 90 plus minutes, of course. And then here we have, so here is the recovery focus. Also here is recovery focus. So we don't want any sprints. We don't want any high speed running. And we go on the pitch and we start activating the players. So a few acceleration, decelerations are played, but around 20% of the game demands. And then we go into power session. We are small spaces here. We want to overload them because now it's over 72 hours ago we played a game. So here they should be recovered. Of course, we can reduce the training volume for the players that don't feel recovered. But generally, we're in small spaces. We do a lot of acceleration, decelerations, change of directions, and so on. We try to overload them. And here it says 70%, but sometimes we're up at 100%. Then we reduce the volume here. We are on small spaces, so the high speed running and the sprinting is not that much. But the fourth day related to this game, we're on full pitch, all training, and then we overload the sprinting distance and the high speed running distance. And then we go, because here is a game, we reduce the volume. We do a lot of speed here, but not a lot. No, we do some sprinting, I would say, but not a lot according to the volume here. And then the day before a game, we reduce volume even more, so they feel recovered, so they can be fresh, and the adaptation has gone up again until game. So we relate our way of training and our way of monitor 250% of their game demands in a week. And if we some players play 2 games a week, they are automatically having 200%. So the last 50% is some recovery training in between. But the players maybe don't play at all. They have to do a lot of complementary training to reach 250%. So this is then we can relate these numbers to a game, something to be able to use and to able to make a decision on how we're gonna train the player today. So you can also here you see the percenting in respect to the game demands that we discussed in the previous slide. You can compare the type of training with the last week of training, and also maybe a mean of the same type if the player is above, a lot of above or below, and then you can calculate the injury risk if we want to reduce the player's volume or increase or whatever to have a to reach a higher capacity or something. You can set individual positional targets, of course, based on the game or based on what we want during different periods of the season. Yeah, I was into this map also, the percentage of data of the session type. And here was the whole week. We can compare with each other. So this is how we can look. You can see small-sided games on a power day. You look at these acceleration variables, and you can see in the bottom column here or the bottom row is the percentage of game demands in one drill. And then you have large-sided games on endurance day. You look at total distance, you look at high speed distance, and maybe sprints. And you look at the percentage of the game demands. And now we have produced the data, and we have related it to the game, to the match, and now we need to communicate it, because maybe you as a sports scientist or video analyst or assistant coach or whatever you work at, maybe it's not your decision, maybe it's the manager's decision, and then you have to communicate and explain, okay, this is the data, this is what it looks like, comparing to our training today, comparing to the match demands, I suggest this. And sometimes, and this is very often, this happens, that the communication problem is the biggest. So, and maybe the managers or the head coaches, and they're making decision, and this has to be fast. Maybe you have 10 minutes of reporting this every day. If you're lucky, then you have to show him or her, this is how it looks like, this is what I suggest, and then we make a decision. Or he makes a decision, or we as a group make a decision, or me making a decision. So communication is really important. You can't speak about numbers here, and muscle variables or whatever, then they will not understand. So you have to maybe speak in football terms to make them understand. And this is a really important soft skill as a specialist. So if you see here, the communication, and we are in Elfsborg, we are quite, the organization is quite small. You have Malmö, you have European clubs, there are much more people here. And then the communication of this data, all of these, the coaching staff, the scouting staff, the football physiology, or where I am head of this department, football medicine, all of these have data, some data and some technologies they want to provide to the rest of the coaches, but also to the manager who maybe make the decision. And so it's really important that these people understand each other's data. If the physiotherapist doesn't understand the workload data, then the decision maybe will be completely different, and then maybe we will, in our plan of the training for a certain player of the day, maybe we'll increase the risk of injury or decrease the performance. So the communication here is really important, and it's quite challenging sometimes. So just to some aspects of the communications, really, as a specialist, it's really important. Which roles need the information? Maybe I don't go with the workload data to my assistant coach or to the kit manager or whatever, but maybe the physiotherapist have to know, and the manager have to know, or maybe the assistant coach will have to know, because he or she planning to do a second session with tactical aspects in the afternoon with a player whose workload is above the roof and need to rest. And this is important to which roles need the information. And if I communicate to the coaching staff or to the players, or maybe to the sports director or whatever, am I precise with my information? And keep it simple, and keep it small, and keep it not like an hour presentation every day. Then they will get tired of you, and the other aspects of the game will be will not have time for that. So, and what I was saying before, do my players and colleagues understand what I want and how it should be carried out? Do they need the context? Do they need maybe the scientific context of injury risk reduction, or the performance aspects, or whatever? And do I listen to feedback, good or bad? it's very easy to say something, and then they say, or it seems they don't understand, and then I say especially, oh, they don't understand, they're stupid, or maybe it's me that I have to change my communication. Otherwise, it can be critical for the players, and then we have like 5 injuries, and when we meet the best teams in the league or whatever. Communication methods. You all know that some people are good on listening. Some people you have to show pictures or videos. Some of them both. It's different, but make it clear. And of course, with the players, we usually try to communicate with all these aspects. So we talk with the group, we talk with the individual, we show the individual video clips or performance data or test data or whatever, and then they're related to what's going on the pitch today, and we show them, okay, this is what you need to do to increase the performance or the physical capacity or whatever. So we show them. So this is the communication is really important. And then we have decision making. Of course, most of the time it's not for one person. Maybe it is. Then this process can be a lot faster and a lot less complicated. But most of the time it's different aspects. It's not only the physical aspects that plans the training. It's the tactical aspects, technical, the well-being, the relationship with the players or whatever. It's many things. So it's different to the mistake I see that many does with this data. They think that, okay, the data shows like this. Okay, then always when the data shows like this, we do like this. And for me, that is data-based decisions. Or you can use the data as just as a base for a discussion. Okay, this is the data. Okay, what is the context today? What type of session? How does he feel at home? Did he eat properly? Did he perform? What is his motivation? What's the tactical aspects of the game? What needs to be done today? So we bring in everything and the data we have, and then we start discussing, and then we make a decision. So if you look at the physical part, the monitor cycle is that you have the training session, the external load, maybe GPS data here, and then you have the responses from this activity. How do they feel about the session? And then you have some internal workload data, heart rate, RPE, and so on. And then the morning after, they come back and they answer a few questions. How did they sleep? How motivated are they? Is it a lot of muscle soreness or whatever? And then we discuss this in the coaching team and also put in other aspects of today's session. And then we make a decision on the team level and individual level. And the same goes for the coaching part, the technical parts. The athlete perform, coach observes, performance analysis like video analysis or tactical statistics related to past performance on individual and on team, and then the coach plans the practice, and then we conduct the practice, and then the wheel goes around. This is how I think it should be. The data, performance data, and the technologies should be used. And as I started with, I think it's really important that clubs and practitioners go through these different steps that I walked you through today to see, number one, how the money we put in this system, can we afford it, and do we think that we're going to have the effect that's going to increase the performance so much that it's worth the investment? But also, do we have the staff that are well educated, that can use this data and relate it to the football performance to analyze it in correct way regarding to the right parameters, the variables that are related to success or performance? That is really important. So that is my contribution to this course. I will send this to Jonas, and we'll put it out on Canvas, and also I will send him 2 articles that relates to this this presentation. I wish you a nice day, and good luck with everything.